This is just the trauma meme react, isn't it? But I love trauma. Should I say that? Because that could be insensitive. I don't love trauma. I love being able to heal people's trauma.
I love working with trauma.
There you go. Tis the season for more reacts. What's going on, y'all? It's your boy, your favorite therapist, John Bird, aka the Chocolate Therapist, and we are doing another therapy meme react video. Why? This is my third one in like 4 weeks, but I love this shit. Easy, fun, educational, and you get to see my lovely personality. So let's get to it. Memory with trauma be like, I was born, then I was 13 for 1 minute, then I turned 21. One of the most obvious signs that you have childhood trauma is that you have trouble remembering your childhood. Why is that? Defense mechanism. Everything comes down to how you've learned to address and handle your trauma. And one of them is dissociation. So you've heard of the sympathetic nervous system responses of fight, flight, or freeze. These are embedded defense mechanisms that we naturally use to keep us safe in the midst of harm and danger. So when you don't have a lot of memory from your childhood, that means you probably relied on the defense mechanism, the ingrained defense mechanism of dissociation. One thing to keep in mind on why you can't remember things is because you are in an unsafe environment and your brain's always in survival mode. So the resources of your brain are fixated, hyper-fixated, not on being mindful and in the moment, but on surviving and disassociating to protect you from whatever chaos or danger is going on in that moment. Your body adapts to being in this fight, flight, or freeze state all the time. And you're always trying to be prepared for when the other shoe drops, that your mind has little ability or little opportunity to actually practice being aware. Actually practice being mindful of your environment, being present, because to do so would expose you to harm and danger. So you're not able to focus on the good things that are happening. Maybe you got an A on a test or something like that. Maybe a girl said you look cute. You're so focused on protecting yourself that all these other things don't actually register for you. It's really unfortunate if you think about it. Couples innocently existing. John Gottman. You're not gonna make it. All right, so for any of you who don't know who the GOAT John Gottman is, he is the godfather of couples therapy. And he has a very famous saying that he's gotten so good at the research that if he was to talk to a couple for 15 minutes, he could accurately say, it's like 92% say, if a couple was gonna end up getting divorced in like the next 5 years. And that always sits with me. I'm no John Gottman, but I'm right there. I might not be at 92%, but I'm 75% sure when I see some of these couples interact, that shit ain't gonna make it. The reason why he says is because of contempt. If a couple is shitting on each other, being contemptuous, is shaming each other, then they're not gonna make it. So if you are negative and shaming and condescending to your partner, then there's a 92% chance that you guys probably aren't gonna make it. This isn't me, this is John Gottman, and he's done the research. I love feeling represented in literature. Reading the DSM-5 right now. I hope I'm not the only therapist that felt like this when I took my diagnosing class. Every week, a new diagnosis would come, and I'd be like, oh shit, this is me. They're explaining me. I'm a narcissist. I have BPD. I have depression. I have anxiety. I had every single diagnosis in the book. Here's the thing. I say it every week I do these things. We all have a little craziness in us. So when you look at a diagnosis, you're gonna see a little slice of you in every single diagnosis. You're gonna see a little slice of you in narcissism. You're gonna see a little slice of you in depression and anxiety and bipolar disorder. You're gonna have a little slice of you in every single diagnosis. And don't overthink it, because again, we all have a little craziness in us, and you're just reading a book that's reading you. Also, if anyone doesn't know, the DSM is a book of mental health disorders that therapists, psychiatrists, psychologists use to diagnose people. It's a list of medical codes that take a batch of symptoms and they have a label of a diagnosis that we need to use for insurance companies to classify what we're helping you with. A lot of controversy with it, but the main reason why we therapists use it is because we need to get paid for what we do, and health insurance companies need some type of code to label you as and to classify you as to verify that you're worthy of some type of treatment. Men love saying, let's fucking go. Yes, let's fucking go to therapy, big dog. You're really on the money with picking these memes. These are some bangers. One of the reasons why I don't do couples therapy is because I'm very biased, all right? You gotta know yourself as a therapist. And one thing I always inevitably think in couples therapy is a lot of these problems stem from the man. Even in my own relationship, my wife is so perfect. And she sets the standard for our relationship. And if I wasn't a therapist and I didn't go to school to learn all these healthy things, I don't know if I would be healthy enough to be in a relationship. I literally had to get a master's degree in being a healthy person in order for my relationship to work out. So, I feel bad for some of these men out here who don't know shit because society doesn't really teach us to navigate relationships in a healthy way.
I think society teaches men to care about themselves first and then others. And then it teaches women to take care of everyone first and then themselves. So that's why relationships are easier for us.
You are just so wise. And that's a good point. Women come baked in with thinking about other people and kind of sacrificing their needs, and men, they have a lot of shitty traits baked in, like me, myself, and I. So one thing we have to learn is how to actually adequately love someone. And the easy way of understanding that is loving someone is putting my needs on the back burner and prioritizing someone else's needs. Not people pleasing, because that's an unhealthy version of love, but I'm just kind of into it. Me complaining about how unfulfilling my life is. Me not changing anything about my life and doing the same thing over and over. Here's the thing, y'all. Change is hard. People come into therapy to change, and it takes months. And these are people who want to change. Let me make this educational, though. We all know change is hard, but why is change hard? So let's say that we're trying to change one of our trauma responses, and that is people pleasing. We're trying to stand up for ourselves, and we're trying to prioritize our needs. Well, one way that I've learned to be safe my whole life is by prioritizing the needs of others. So now I am taking the thing that has kept me safe my whole life, or at least that I've thought has kept me safe my whole life, and I'm trying to kick that out, and I'm trying to replace it with something completely new that I have no experience with. When I drop something that I've used to protect myself for my whole life, and I try to replace it with something else, it's very simple. That's scary. I can't predict the outcome of what this new thing is going to produce in my life. But when I was prioritizing the needs of others and being a people pleaser, I knew that they were going to be happy with that, and I was going to be safe. There's a lot of different reasons, but one of the biggest reasons is simply it's scary. It might be scary, but eventually this is a bridge that you're going to have to cross, because the reason why you came in is because you're unhappy. And the reason why you're unhappy is because your needs never get met because you're elevating other people's needs above your own. You see how it all trickles down and change is inevitable? Like Thanos? You think you can hurt my feelings? I'm an overthinker. I hurt my own feelings. A lot of us are overthinkers, but why do we overthink? Overthinking is a trauma response. It's a defense mechanism that someone has developed in order to keep themselves safe. A lot of people have to overthink in order to be a step ahead of the danger in their environment, typically as kids. They had to overthink about the way that their mom or dad was gonna flip out on them. So they had to be a step ahead of the problem. But now they're adults, and this one-time solution has now become a problem because they no longer need it in adulthood. And that's why they come to me, so I can identify this and help them change their thought process. The joys of therapy. The most selfish person you know is at therapy being told they're allowed to be selfish sometimes. This is one of my biggest fears, that I have a selfish person who's disguising that they're not selfish, And then I tell them, you need to be more selfish in your life. And then I remember, selfish people don't go to therapy. But I have to defend my therapist here. Because one of the first goals in therapy is to get close to the person that has come to see you in therapy. In order to do that, I'm not gonna shit on them and be like, you need to be less selfish. I'm gonna try to be on their side. I'm gonna try to be on their side. I'm gonna build some rapport. I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, you need to love yourself. You are the shit, that you are just a great person, that you are just so lovable. You're just silly and you're an amazing person. It sounds like I'm love bombing them actually. But you know what happens after a couple of weeks? Our relationship starts to get a little tighter. That's when I come with the critical but loving feedback. I start to tell you, I start to hold you accountable. I start to slip in, some loving feedback and telling you about yourself. One of the magical things in therapy is that when someone stays in therapy long enough, the shitty ways that they've entered their relationships with other people will be shown to you as a therapist. And they will bring that same shittiness into their relationship with the therapist. It's a beautiful thing because I firsthand get to see that shittiness and we get to work on it. It's a beautiful thing. I wish in therapy you got a little patch for every trauma you successfully got through, like in Boy Scouts. I grew up in a Christian family, so we didn't have the Boy Scouts. We had the Royal Rangers.
Did you get patches?
It's funny because I joined and you would see other kids with patches and shit, but I was in that bitch for like 3 years. I didn't have one patch, no opportunity to get a patch or anything. I was just patchless, So I don't know what to make of that. Anyway, I do something like this. So I do EMDR, all right? And anytime someone successfully gets through a pillar of their trauma, they get a new rock. I know that sounds kind of stupid, so let me show you. Get the rock from me, baby. So, anytime someone gets through a pillar of their trauma, a pillar of trauma is like a way that someone struggles with identifying themselves. So one of the pillars of their trauma might be, I'm worthless, all right? So we go through a lot of their history of memories that made them feel worthless. And once we've done EMDR on all of them, they get a big ass rock, okay? So it's a heart-shaped rock, it's painted. They could choose their favorite flavor, or not flavor, color. And it's something that they can use with essential oils. And I just think that this is a fun little thing that people can do to look forward to, because EMDR is intense as hell, And if you have a little reward waiting on the other end of all the trauma that you've processed, that makes it worth it, at least a little bit. I guess healing the trauma also makes it worth it as well. So anyway, yeah, my patch. The human personality is made up of 5 key elements: fire, water, mold, odor, trauma. This is just the trauma meme react, isn't it? But I love trauma. Should I say that? Because that can be insensitive. I don't love trauma. I love being able to heal people's trauma.
I love working with trauma.
There you go. So when you start learning about trauma, you become so aware that a lot of people's personality is made up of how they have learned to respond to their trauma. You're a perfectionist, not because you have a high standard for yourself, but because perfectionism is the only way that you receive love from your parents. You're aggressive or violent, not because, you have tenacity or some shit like that, but because the environment that you were raised in forced you to be aggressive and violent in order to survive and not be made fun of. You're a people pleaser, not because you love people and taking care of people, but because you had to take care of people in your environment in order to be safe and protected and to be loved. So again, a lot of who we are as a person comes from how we've adapted to our environment as a child. So I think this hits the nail on the head. I don't know about mold and odor and fire and water. There's some Avatar, The Last Airbender shit being mixed in there.
We're like 80% water. So yeah.
Part of our personality though, it's kind of like part of our biology.
Sorry.
I'm not a science guy though, so you're the chemist. When you're down to 0 fucks to give, does that mean you need more therapy or have completed therapy? Confused. I think what this means is that you have adapted the defense mechanism of not caring anymore. You find it safer to not care and invest in anything rather than continue to be disappointed by the outcomes you've been receiving. So no, it's therapy for this person has just begun, because if you go through life having 0 fucks to give, then you're gonna have a shitty life, and eventually you're gonna have death anxiety, and then you're gonna regret the shitty life of no fucks given that you lived on your deathbed. You're gonna be like, damn, I should have gave a fuck more when you're by yourself and you don't have no kids, you don't have no family, you know, you're still working at 70 at Walmart. You didn't give a fuck about anything, so you didn't invest in your 401k, and now you're at 70 years old, you have no kids, no life, you work at Walmart, and you know, that's your life.
Too aggressive.
Was it too aggressive?
The answer could be different for each different type of person. So like, I care too much about what everyone thinks. Well, now I don't care. Does that mean therapy's over for me?
Oh, you're talking, I guess that's right.
It depends on the person and what they're struggling with.
So what you're saying is that there's a healthy way to give no fucks. Okay, let's rephrase this, all right? Scrap all the Walmart stuff and the dying on your deathbed alone with no family. Let's say this. It's okay to give zero fucks about everything outside of your own opinion of yourself, all right? That's a healthy place, all right? You give zero fucks about Sally or Stacy or the people on the internet or your mom or your dad or whoever, but you care about your own opinion. You fucking care. You fucking care about your own opinion. When your opinion of yourself is the central dominating opinion that kind of runs your life and dictates how you see yourself, that's when you completed therapy and you can quit it. Chocolate Therapist approved message. One quick thing, because there's balance with this, all right? If you care too much about only you, then we can get in the realm of narcissism, all right? So actually scrap that last thing I said. There's a healthy balance of caring about other people and caring about yourself. And I'm just gonna leave it here because this one's getting too long, all right? Next one. Insurance auditor. Please use client quotes and measurable goals in treatment plans. Therapist, fine. Client wants to stop fucking up and will track episodes of fucking up on a log and review each session to decrease fuck-ups from 3 times per day to 3 times per week. This sounds like a real-ass treatment plan to me. So some of you guys might pick up that I cuss a lot, or at least I don't know if I cuss a lot. It seems like I cuss a lot to me because before I was a therapist, I was just a nice Christian boy, didn't say the F word at all, try to keep cussing down to a minimum. But I became a therapist and my clients are real as hell. They are raw as hell. A lot of my clients cuss and it rubs off. You become a product of your environment. Who taught you that? Pavlov? I think it was Pavlov who taught that? No. Erickson? It's one of those theorists. Yeah, my clients are raw. All right? They're some of the rawest, realest people that I know. And this is the thing. Sometimes I come off as insensitive. Why? Because I'm a therapist and the people I see in therapy are so real and raw. They've been through all this crazy shit in their life and they bring the bluntness out of me. So I don't have to tippy toe in therapy. I don't know who in their right mind thought that people who come in therapy are this vulnerable bunch of people. No, they're roughneck. They're from the hood, all right? They seen some shit and that produces a treatment plan like this. Stop fucking up and tracking episodes of fucking up and trying to reduce my fuck-ups from 3 times to 3 weeks per day. Recounting my summer situationship. Me, I'm stupid. My therapist, are we trying to work on your negative self-talk? Me, okay, you're right. I'm not stupid. Therapist, me, therapist, you are silly though. Isn't that just, now that I'm actually processing this is what therapy's all about. You see that subtle shift in perspective there? It goes from you shitting on yourself to you really embracing a healthy, great characteristic that's a part of you. How simple is it to just change your perspective on a word? Stupid is has such a negative connotation to it, but silly, I think that's a desirable trait to have. So, you know, you going from I'm stupid to going I'm silly, I'm goofy, I'm a character. It just completely changes how you see yourself and how that self-talk happens. This is good therapy right here. I'm gonna have to use this. I have to get a book of adjectives that someone thinks they're stupid. Let's shift that. No, you're silly. Someone thinks that they're ugly. No, you're
unique.
You're unique. Me, when my therapist does her damn job It makes me realize the unhealthiness of my ways. First off, if you walk in my office in your drawers, I'm gonna have a lot of questions. Here's your job as a therapist, and here's your job that you should be looking for your therapist to do. Your therapist is your biggest fan, but also your biggest critic. So one of my jobs as a therapist is to call your ass out and make sure that you are living in accordance and in alignment with the way that we've talked about how you want to live your life. What you're paying me for is to hold you accountable. It's to call your ass out. It's to give you feedback. It's to make sure you're in alignment with the person and the lifestyle that you've told me you want to live. It's gonna be a lot of correction. It's gonna be a lot of these death stares that you're giving me. It's gonna be a lot of apparently you coming in my drawers because you had a hell of a week. And you know what? I'm still gonna love you even when you fall short.
He said coming in my drawers.
Did I say that?
Yeah. You can't use that.
No diddy. When you become aware of all the shitty patterns you've been unconsciously creating your entire life. Isn't this just so emblematic of the people I see in therapy? Here's the thing. I'll say it one time, I'll say it again. We are all crazy, and craziness can be symbolized by shit. Hear me out. Trust me, I'm going somewhere with this. The people I see in therapy, they come in here smelling like shit, all right? Not literally, but I'm just talking about the trauma and the craziness that's developed in their life. And unbeknownst to them, they have shit all over them. They smell like shit. They're dragging shit all over the place, but they're unaware of it. My job as a therapist is to make you get a fresh whiff of the shit you just laid in your life. Again, the shit is your trauma. The shit is the way that you develop to adapt to your trauma. And the shit is the craziness that you bring into the relationships with other people. It is so much easier to see someone else's craziness than it is to see your own. And when you finally see it, you look around and there's shit all over the place, you're smelling it, and you're horrified. And you're like, damn, why didn't anyone tell me? I literally had to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to see the shit that's smothered and slathered all over the place. I smell like it, it's disgusting. But thank you, John. Thank you for opening my eyes and letting me know I smell like shit. It's not funny anymore.
How many times can you say shit in one reaction?
One takeaway I want to make sure you guys get from all my rambling is that we all smell like shit, but it's the healthy people that know it. All right, y'all, unfortunately, we're at the worst part of this video, and that is the end. If you made it this far, I truly do love and appreciate you for being invested in my React videos. It's been a good year of Reacts, and this is probably gonna be the last one of the year, so hopefully you enjoyed it. With that being said, if you like this video, then watch this video right here. It's me reacting to outrageous mental health memes. Love you guys, God bless, and I'll see you guys in the next one.